5,000 plus LinkedIn member community. The sole purpose of this is simple: to bring educators, researchers, and collaborators together on a common platform and encourage collaboration. So it's a purely non-commercial purpose that's we are having here. All right. And I kind of am really grateful to Dr. X for this opportunity to be able to kind of be the connector between the researchers and the educators who can contribute here. Thank you so much, Rex. Over to you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. So as Sis has said, I'm Rex Holliday. I'm a research fellow and a professor at the University of Phoenix. At University of Phoenix, through their Center for Education and Instructional Technology and Research, they have really launched a very aggressive campaign on doing AI research for education, not only in K12, but also in higher ed, as well as in the corporate settings. So they're looking at this very seriously. I'm a part of one of 23 AI research teams. I had the team 7, and my co-investigators are Dr. Neil Duchat and Dr. Kelly Speed Daniel, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. They have conflicts with teaching schedules and other things. But so I just want to go ahead and get started here. So what we're looking at in our research group, in our particular team, we're looking at the training of AI-powered systems to tailor the K12 educational content, set personalized education and delivery for individual students with disability needs and learning styles. So we're looking at how we can help teachers in this category to better serve these students. And okay, so the problem that we're seeing is while applications are being explored in education, research lacks focus on AI directly supporting special education teachers. So the current AI applications include adaptive learning systems, speech and text recognition, AI-powered tutoring assistants, automated data analytics. The research gap that we're seeing is limited focus on teacher-facing AI tools, need for researcher practitioner collaboration, and ethical implications unexplored as far as what you can, there's some of the risk factors, and we'll get into that later on. And then the impact on special education pedagogy. So this is our central question. Can AI be used to mitigate the shortage of special education teachers to help effectively serve students with disabilities? So this is really where we really want to focus here, as well as some of the benefits of using AI and ed tech tools for this purpose. Our research questions are focused on how does AI contribute to teaching and reading competencies for teachers working with students in grades K12, and how has AI changed the methods of teaching and reading competencies for teachers working with disabled students in grades K12. And finally, what benefits do teachers note when utilizing AI in the classroom for students with disabilities in grades K12? One of the things, and some of this research might be obsolete now. Prior to 2025, these statistics were relevant. So we kind of looked at this, and this is the National Assessment of Educational Progress. And the largest continuing and nationally representative, at the time they were the largest representative assessment of what American students know and can do in various subjects within the U.S. Department of Education, which now that's, of course, has changed. And independent measures provides objective data on student performance. So you can access this still on that website for the U.S. Department of Education. I believe it is archived there. So one of the things that we looked at in the 2024 Nations Report Card was that for grades 4, students with disabilities, 15% were identified with disabilities, but only as many as 78% scored below that NAEP average. And then for grade 8, students with disabilities, 13% were identified with disabilities, 79 scored below that average. And it's been a notable decline since 2022. So this is coming out of the COVID pandemic, which halted a lot of progress for K12, but still, since 2022, we've been seeing a consistent decline here. And then some of the contributing factors are special education teacher shortages. So we know that across the board in the United States, we have a shortage of K12 teachers. And then the recruitment of retention challenges and disproportionate impact on rural and low-income regions. These are all noted in that report, on that NAEP report. So the significance of this study, this research will provide rich contextual insights into how AI can support special education teachers and improve outcomes for students with disabilities. So again, I just want to reiterate, I know a lot of teachers are concerned about AI replacing them. That isn't how we're approaching this study. I'm an educator myself. I'm not looking to replace myself with AI, but I do believe that we can use AI to help teachers. So imagine you have a classroom, of 30, 40 students. We know that even in the traditional settings, it's impossible to have a one-on-one with each and every student. Some students are just going to fall through the cracks. Those are the ones that are shy, they don't want to speak up, they just kind of get passed over. AI can help teachers with this because it's one of those technologies where it's non-intrusive. Students can be, they can respond to different things anonymously, so that they're not embarrassed to speak up. And so this is really can be very, very helpful. Practical contributions, teachers' perspectives on AI implementation, evidence of AI effectiveness in K-12 reading instruction, best practices for AI integration, insights for policymakers and school leaders. And then on a theoretical side, expansion of constructivist learning theory, application of social cultural perspectives, and the development of TPAC framework, rich qualitative narratives, complement quantitative research. And then the future impact we're looking at, this study may provide, anecdotal evidence about disabilities and socialization within the classroom that contributes to future research and inclusive education practices. Okay, so the conceptual framework in this study, so we have 3 that we're looking at. Constructivist theory, and this is Paget and Vygotsky. Learners actively construct knowledge through environmental interaction. AI provides scaffolded learning aligned with zone and proximal development. Adaptive platform foster student-centered experiences. And social cultural learning theory, AI mediates teacher, student, and peer-to-peer interactions, transforms classroom discourse and engagement patterns, learning as a social process embedded in authentic context. And the TPAC framework, the intersection of technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge, examines teachers' perceptions and instructional adaptations, recognizes teacher agency in AI-enhanced environments. And some of the literature that we're looking at, this is not at all exhaustive, but recent literature emphasizes AI's capacity to revolutionize educational practices through personalized learning pathways, real-time feedback mechanisms, and data-driven instructional decision-making. So I like the real-time feedback mechanisms. This is something that is very, very important. Students need to have that immediate feedback. A lot of times, feedback, especially in online or virtual settings, feedback can be delayed. Also, feedback can be an oversight even in person on-site settings where students, again, are just overlooked because they're not the ones that speak up all of the time. They're not the ones who have all the answers, but they have 1,000 questions in their heads that they're not expressing. And again, adaptive learning systems, AI-powered platforms adjust content based on individual performance. Intelligent tutoring systems provide personalized feedback comparable to human tutoring. And teacher support AI reduces administrative burdens through automated grading and analytics. And equity concerns, implementation may exacerbate educational inequities without attention to access and bias. So we're also looking at the counter arguments here as well, which is important in research. You have to look at what are some of the risks, what are some of the things that the opponents are saying about this technology. And so we want to eliminate bias by showing both sides of all perspectives as much as possible. And then this is the methodology that we're going to be using: qualitative, comparative case studies. So we're going to be using non-structured interviews, and we're targeting educators in that K12 environment. And this can be district administrators, classroom educators. This is anyone who's in that K12 environment who has something to do with the curriculum, the curricula that is being taught in those environments. So we're looking at, it says 10 teachers here. Really, our benchmark is 11. We would like to get as many as 50 because, as you know, people do fall out of these studies. So in order to have a good research sample, we would need to have a minimum of 11 throughout the entire process from beginning to end. Here it says Atlanta, Georgia, and New Jersey metro areas. That is not the case anymore. Also, the focus is on K12 and not grades 4 and 8. So, and again, purpose of sampling, semi-structured interviews here. And then the interviews would be about 30 to 40 minutes long. We're using a coding factor so that we can maintain anonymity so that these participants aren't identifiable. So they don't have to worry about retribution from their institutions if those institutions are not on board with using AI in the classroom. We know that it is a concern for many educators. Again, document analysis of AI-generated reports, and then we'll check the credibility of the members. And then here is some of the daily analysis plan that we're going to be doing, and I won't go into that. Ethical considerations. We know that they felt they're being judged. We know that it has impact on teacher workload focus. So while the AI tools are helpful, it is going to be a learning curve for some teachers. So we understand that as well. That's one of the concerns. Privacy concerns and data protection, potential bias in curriculum generating algorithms. So we know that some of the generative AI platforms have been noted for having biased content when it generates information. So it is some of the concerns that they're also expressing with hiring agencies who use AI to review applications and resumes and things like that. So we're looking at all these potential issues with using AI in the classroom. Safeguards and informed consent from all participants. These are some of the things that we're doing as far as the study goes. We have IRB approval As we recruit from your group, ANXIS, we'll have to go in and do an amendment to our IRB, so that they're aware that we're recruiting from Education Revolution platform. And of course, it's a voluntary participation. There aren't any incentives or, for participating other than what they can add to the research. And I've talked about the confidentiality measures. We use coding to identify participants. And the focus areas: equity and accessibility, curriculum quality, human oversight, teacher voice and agency, and reducing bias. And that's it. That's I hope I didn't rush through that, but do go ahead. Amin has a question.
Yeah, I was no, thank you so much for sharing this. I think there was good things that we were covering, specifically the fears that teachers have. And one of the reasons I've seen, because I've been working with the K12, I mean, from the software side, really didn't had a chance to work directly with the educators. But when we talk about these AI, some of the teachers are the fear that came in is, like you mentioned, they've been judged on, how they are, rating their students. They might find they were not able to identify where some students required an intervention, and they couldn't identify. And when they applied these AI tools, they were immediately they came out with the scores that the student is having problems. Like one of the tools that we were working with the on with Renaissance Learning, because they've been into K12 educations in almost 40% of the schools in the US. And one of the key things that came in is, one of the student was identified where he scored less because his writing pattern was taken into consideration, and he was given a low scores and identified, this student's required intervention. And as you rightly said, some of these students don't talk about it. Even if they say they didn't want to show up, they had a chance. Okay, teacher said, okay, you show it to me, give you assignments, what you've done. And then they do their writing and they say, I forgot at home or something of that sort. He always missed out. And teacher kept on just sharing the note with the parents. And the parents just came, and parents didn't want to listen that my child is having dyslexia or, some of those symptoms. So, those things are ones which teachers needs to be adapted to it. Teachers need to really understand, this is going to help them. A simple tool which TTS, where we saying text to speech or, even speech to text, that helps a lot to these kids. And if we are able to, give them that confidence, and the teachers believe that, this is something that gonna help them identify, and that's eventually helpful them, because no one will teachers might not remember the students, but as a student I still remember what my teacher told in grade 5 or grade 7, if something that helped me, right? So they will always be benefited, and we should have these tools, AI, in these reading comprehension, writing, understand how they are performing. And even with students who are having short spans, like I was reading earlier a few months ago about ADHD, students who are having these challenges. And that's where like solutions coming in with a lot of these LLMs, where you can create a small video for micro learning credentials, or you can have these short span videos would really help. And as long as we can have this knowledge being, or teachers adapting to this technology, it will not only help them, it will help the students as well. And being into the software industry, any such areas where we start looking at AI, and we feel like we can contribute and making some small models where students can just ask their questions rather than keeping in their head, and they don't have to worry, somebody is watching or their peer gonna bully them, why is not even know the basic question. Those are things that students, when they adapt, it'll be easier for them. So I believe, any such solutions that we coming through AI, and any such studies that you just presented, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I would also love to participate, anywhere. I have only limited knowledge on the software side, which I can help, but I really love these concepts, and do participate in this. Any point where you see that you need something where I can contribute. It's a volunteer contribution, nothing to do with what we as a company being working on. But I would love to participate in those. So, but thank you so much. It was a great research that you're working on. You are
Absolutely.
muted.
Thank you so much for your your comments there, Amit. You make me think about one of the things that I've had a lot of challenges with because I also have an ed tech company brand that we launched earlier this year. And one of the things that I'm seeing is that a lot of teachers are very, very concerned about being replaced by this technology. And so I remind them, well, I'm an educator. I'm not trying to put myself out of work, but I do see that there's a huge burden placed on educators. A lot of people don't understand that, while I have, I do 2 hours on the campus for Salt Lake Community College in Taylorsville, Utah. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
that's 2 hours on the campus, but that's about 30 hours at home.
Yeah.
I'm grading papers. I have virtual meetings with students. My office hours are virtual. So there's a whole lot of going on the back end. And this is what happens as far as trying to have that one-on-one with students is just not possible to do that. But I see students struggling. In fact, in my lectures tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm seeing in their writing. But I have to do it as a group. Although I see this with just a few students, I have to address it in this group because that's my only opportunity to address it is in that lecture setting. So some of the students are going to be glass-eyed because, it's going to be something that they don't really want or really care about. So they're not going to be engaged, but the ones who need it, hopefully they will be engaged. So this is some of the challenges that I see as an educator. And I think that using AI in similar ed tech tools can help to mitigate those challenges in the classroom. So
one other question that might be using, sorry, Ashish, to cut you off. You want to go ahead first, please?
No, go ahead, Amin.
Okay. Yeah. So Rick, one of the things that while you're doing this study, generally these we have US laws or the compliances that we have, on the FERPA side, the education right or the privacy rights. How how do you suggest? We just wanted to hear your thoughts on, how do you suggest, when you are building up these AI based models, because some of the parents may not be ready to, even if you have identified that patterns, parent may not be, ready to give that, or because being AI, it's like they'll get everything, and the data privacy, or the children may feel, giving that information or sharing that with even with the AI system, because that then it's a fear that a general LLM always is assumed that this is publicly available, although you can always restrict those domains. But how do you cater to that, or how do you see that convincing the educators or convincing the parents that this is something not publicly available, the privacy rights are being complied to?
Yeah,
just wanted to
my
hear out your
question
thoughts
was
on that.
exactly around the same topic, Rex, about the concerns on the privacy and ethical considerations particularly.
Yes.
So and of course, what you said about replacing the teachers feeling that it's everywhere, right? AI is going to take our jobs and that kind of feeling. So typically, I think would like to quote the example in the healthcare settings, which I'm currently working, right? So any AI system which we use for healthcare, okay, or even clinical decision making, there is a concept called human in the loop. Okay? So I think that's one thing, maybe something like teacher in the loop or similar kind of a thing. Or again, there is the question of AI governance. Okay, so governance in the sense how the models are governed, where that information goes, and having transparency and explainability of how the AI evaluated what it did. Okay, so showing that transparency to the parents. Okay? So possibly that kind of a framework would be very effective and helpful in building trust with these frameworks, not just with the parents, but with also the teachers. And
Absolutely, absolutely. So I can adjust some of those things as far as my experience goes. I've worked with, in fact, as an instructional designer, which is my other hat that I wear. I built out an entire K12 institution. They were coming right out of COVID, and they wanted to transfer their academy to online. So a lot of the textbooks and the tools that they were using were these were available to anyone, if you had an account. So it's already out there where schools are using tools, edtech tools that are not quite meeting the FERPA, requirement. But what they do is they bring it into their platform. So they have their own Canvas account, and then they bring these in as an API. So that it's sitting on their platform, and your privacy is protected through double or triple authentication as far as logging in and accessing this content. So through iExcel Learning, a lot of K12 institutions use that, but anyone can log in and access that program, and as well as some of the other ones that have been around for a while. So what I see is that a lot of institutions will just bring it into their learning management system so that they can manage the data that tool is collecting on their students. So that's not accessible outside of that institution. So I'm not sure that answered your question. So
yeah. So one more question that I had, even I'm based in Canada, and we have a lot of diverse population, coming from different countries, and majority of us are immigrants in this country. But how do we when we are discussing about these AI tools, and most of these, even the LLMs, they are actually trained on English, and majority of other languages, you'll find a limited data sets on which these LLMs could be trained, or even if we have to train the AI systems. How do we cater uh, students with from different diverse backgrounds, and having these disabilities, and you don't with these some of these disabilities, you already finding challenges with the languages that you were in your native country, and when you're moving to a country like Canada, and then you get into a different challenge. How do we address those? I mean, do you do any I mean, include any such criteria in your research, or you've done something with the diverse population who's having these disabilities?
well, absolutely. In fact, we've had meetings with EdTech developers. And we probably would like to speak with your company as well, Amit. And that's helped us to understand how much is involved with building out these applications so that they can address these different cultures in languages. So some of the feedback that I got from developers helped me on my own brand to go back and then to modify those brands so that those brands can be adapted to. I think we have about 3 dozen different languages that my EdTech brands can be adapted to. But we need to have beta testers to test that, because one of the things that I learned even working with a training company here in Utah, we were building out content for persons in Argentina, and we were converting our English to Spanish, but we had the wrong dialect, Spanish dialect.
Yes.
And so this is something that we didn't think about, so these are things that we have to keep in mind. So we are definitely looking at that. I know that Dr. Kelly Speed is also looking at developing EdTech products specifically for this purpose. And she's been talking to developers. So we're open to that. So ultimately, what we want to do once we've completed this research is to look at how we can now use that research to better develop these products so that they're relevant, they're useful. They're not just another thing that we're throwing at these educators, but it's something that they can actually use. It's out of the box technology. Hopefully as intuitive as possible, so that there's a very low, this knowledge acquisition part is not as intimidating as some of the other technologies can be. So we're just hoping to get to that point with this research. So those some great concerns, great comments. I'll be sure to take this back to the team. So I appreciate again, HS, I really appreciate this opportunity. Well, I'm going to go ahead and publish this on the platform. I'll let you review it, HS, before I post that, and hopefully we can just get some more interest going and get some more educators involved in the research, and then press forward.
Thank you.
Certainly. Yeah.
Thanks, Rex, for allowing us to join in and listen to your very interesting overview. I appreciate it greatly.
Well, you're very, very welcome. So great to see you. It's been a while.
Always good to see you, friend. I mean, it's too long.
It has been a while. So Phil and I worked for years in wireless telecom, and that's where I started to get very interested in training and how training was happening. So that was why I pursued that PhD in educational leadership with that focus on EdTech. That was all beginning right there.
All right. Nice to meet all of you guys.
Thank you, Ashish. Very nice to meet you, sir.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashish.
Hope to continue these conversations on more interesting topics on EdTech. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.